Hey, YouTube. Well, it looks like the YouTube, the Saints are upset. Now they didn't call Miss Doctor Juanita Bynum. Uh, People are very upset with her. Apparently, she's had some kind of event where she's charging people $300 to come and hang out with her. I'm not surprised, but this brought something, and I don't really dig into it that much because I'm just free of what it was just foolishness to me. A lot of it is Christian stuff. Find your church, the person you like and you trust, and just go to your church and leave this other stuff alone. All this stuff about sending these ones $100, that one $100, building the kingdom. Then they want the tithe plus the offering, plus then they got 5 or 6 other different things you give money to. When it turns to a money game, be ye oh so suspicious. And unfortunately, I think this affects women a lot more than it does men. So that's what I want to talk about. Women, beware the pulpit pimp. Okay, I want to make a comparison. Pimping in the streets. I'm gay, so I didn't really hang out in the streets where pimps and hoes was the big thing in the areas where I hung out. But it's always been a mystery to me. It's always that game. When I was a little kid in the 70s, they had all these blaxploitation movies, right? And the superhero at that time was the pimps. The Mac, Superfly. Superfly was a drug dealer. But they always had the criminals as being, the primary character. At some point, he falls. But there are certain similarities between the pimp game and this church game, right? Now, I'm a Christian person, and I love God. And so I'm not coming down on all ministry. I think ministry is great. I think when you get the money involved, is where it becomes problematic because people take advantage. They realize they can get people's money, and it changes the whole game. So then it's just about money. Anyway, so they didn't call. No, where's I at? Let me try to focus up. Okay. In the pimp game, it was always a mystery. How can somebody lay on their back and let some people have sex with them, and then they get nothing out of it? They take the money and give it to some dude. That has always been just a mystery to me. When we were kids, we all go around and say, "Oh, I'm a pimp, like it's a good thing, But a pimp is a despicable character, right? They trick people's minds to give them money, and then they convince them that it's important that the pimp looks good. Not that they look good, or not that they get Cadillacs, Mercedes, BMWs, and all that. They do the work, and they give the money to him for him to shine. It's like a mental illness, right? But that's the pimp game. And he, not only that, but he's not even loyal to her. He has no relationship to her except for her giving him her money. Now, prostitution is bad enough. Selling your body. I mean, I've been a hustler myself when I was a teenager. When I first came out, I did a little bit of that. But I never once encountered where a dude, a man, male prostitutes, which would be people that I know about, that would take their money and give it to somebody else. It's just not in their male nature to do that. That game and this church game, they focus on women. And that's why it pisses me off. Now, Dr. Bynum, you don't have to be a man to be a pimp. You can be a madam. Taking these people's money. And a lot of these women are single mothers trying to do the best they can. It hurts my heart to see them go and give these people their money. Anytime somebody like Creflo Dollar can sit up here and demand a $65 million jet over the top of what they're already supporting, several mansions, high-rise apartments, bling bling, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, and all this kind of stuff. On top of all that, he has the nerve to come and ask these people to give him $65 million for a new jet. Not a jet to get around. Top of the line. It's mental illness. And I think it affects women more than it affects men. You go to these churches, they're doing the same thing the pimp in the street's doing. They're taking advantage of vulnerable people. You go to these churches, they tell you, okay, you are no longer under the law. You are under grace, the grace of God. You are a Christian. You believe in Jesus Christ, and that is your salvation. They'll tell you that. But we're going to keep the part about the tithe. But it's so ridiculous. And they're telling you not on the lot, oh, you can go ahead and have shrimp sandwiches. That's fine, even though that's in these laws that they crucify other people for. Or you can attack the homosexuals because they're not homosexuals, so they don't got nothing to do with them. So that's easy to get rid of. But we'll keep that, and we'll keep the tithe. The tithe is the main thing now. The money, the right for them to beg for your money. They want to keep that in. Suspect that person. It's horrible. They're doing the same thing that a pimp does to a hoe in the streets. Go in there and browbeat them for all their money. And black people, we're not rich. I mean, we bougie. We try to act like we're rich. We got all this money kind of stuff. People need their money to pay their bills. They're basing 10%. They want the 10% to be the same thing it was in the desert 6,000 years ago when it was goats and chickens. They want to keep that 10%. Now they want 10% of your paycheck. The average person, they're paying 30 to 50% of their income in a mortgage or rent. Then they got cable. That's over $100. Then all utilities. Then all the food. Then if they got children, clothes for each child needs something that's every week. I'm sure. Everybody needs a pair of shoes. Everybody needs school clothes. Everybody needs something. All that comes out of the same pot of money, right? And these people want you don't take the 10 off the bottom. Take it off the top. The first 10. Give me my money first. That's pimping. That's pimping. And it's horrible because you go to a church, if you're being honest, you look around and you say, well, this is mostly women. It's hard for a man to be pimped. I'm not trying to show you no prejudice one way or the other. I'm just trying to point something out. In them streets, I know all kind of prostitutes, all kind of male prostitutes. I never met one male prostitute who would go and have sex and humiliate their bodies to give the money to somebody else. Never saw it, not even one time. That's a heterosexual thing. Women will do that. They're more vulnerable in that way to go and take the money that they made on their back and give it to somebody else and be convinced that he should have this. He should be. If you look at the average pimp, his style is not that much different than the average makeup pastor. Why do Petrie need all these Porsches and Cadillacs and all this stuff? These big ass diamond rings and all. That's the same thing what a pimp requires. They convince them that it's important to put him on some kind of pedestal, some kind of higher level. That's some kind of what is going to trickle down. Where we heard that before. So women, be aware. Be aware. You're more vulnerable to these shysters than men are. A lot of the men, when you go to a church, those men are trying to get that position. A lot of the men in church have a position in the church, in the ministry. They have a place of power. That's not an accident. And then they're preaching primarily to the women because the women are vulnerable. They're vulnerable to this kind of exploitation. Don't ask me why. It's something in nature. I don't know what the hell it is. But the women are supporting these freaks. They are. Anytime a ministry, if half the ministry, all they talk about is the money, run for your life, honey. Run for your life. That's not ministry. That's not a person caring about the people are coming to minister for God. And I strongly suspect that a lot of these people who are so willing to take advantage of people and take their money, I think they're closer to atheists than they are to believers. Because if you actually believe that there was a holy God watching down over your actions, there's no way you could carry on the way you do. There's no way. It's easier for what do you say? Easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. They say it could be a literal needle, which means a camel getting through that would be impossible. But from my understanding, there was a passage. They call it a needle, eye of a needle. and you had to unload everything off the camel in order to get through this passage, right? My biblical, Anyway, but a camel couldn't get through there. The only way the camel can get through the eye of a needle, the needle would be the passageway, was if you took everything off the camel, and you could squeeze him through. But why do I always do this? I try to quote the Bible out, and my study is off somewhere. There was a period, when I studied the Bible, I was really into it for a long time when I first became a Christian. So it was very useful to me to bring me to faith. Bring me to faith. But when you come to faith, you become a Christian, it kind of puts to rest all these other ideas, right? Now your salvation is only by faith. Just believe. That's it. You ain't got to give nobody nothing. There's a fine line, because many churches, they do need some money. I mean, they need the money to function. But as far as sending your money somewhere or buying these all that shit Jake's be selling, these little droppers of oil with, you buy a whole bottle of it for $1, the dollar store, and then you sell the little parts of it, $30 a bottle. You got a handkerchief, and the preacher man, he come and kiss it like he got some kind of power. He ain't got no power. The power is from God, and God said the power is available to you through your faith. Believe. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on forever, but they have to miss Juanita Bynum. They owned to her. She was one of these ones. I always thought there was something strange about that woman. She did one good sermon. I think this is the one that made her famous. It was called "No More Sheets," and that was a great sermon. I watched it several times about a woman stripping herself of old things and old ideas in order to become anew. It was a great sermon. She used that. She got wrapped up in the money, and then it's all about the money. Money wants more money. Anytime you think, okay, these people are rich, then they should be great people, because they ain't got to worry about all these things we have to worry about. They ain't got to be chasing every dollar and all this kind of stuff. But the more money they get, the more money they want. Money becomes the God. Money becomes the idol. So they want more and more and more money. So they didn't caught Miss Juanita Bynum. She's lying. She's talking about she got all these degrees, and apparently all the degrees are worth nothing. Little online courses, things that take a couple of weeks. Or the school doesn't exist at all, and she's claiming all of this doctorates and all that lying. Girl, you're hooked. You're hooked on money. I guess she had a lot at one point, and then she messed it up, spending lavishly, and now she'd have lost a lot of her property, all that kind of stuff, which she should lose it because you're getting into false pretenses. Anyway, what I start this thing with? Okay, women, be aware of the pulpit pimp. I don't know why you guys are more vulnerable to this bullshit. But if somebody's telling you that you're under a new covenant and they are preaching the New Testament, faith in Christ, but the conversation is about you giving them all your money, because that's what's left after you pay everything else. You ain't got but 10% left, honey, and they want that. Then, not only do they want that, then this dude Creflo wouldn't, on top of all that, wouldn't ask for a $65 million seed to fly him around like he's the king or something. He's just a preacher. People have the gift of gab. That's the gift of gab. You can use it for good or use it for evil. They know black people, we buy into all this tithing to the church and all this kind of stuff, and they see a weakness, a vulnerability, and they're like wolves. And you don't have to be male to try to pimp women. Paula White, all these women. I mean, I could go on and on. I don't want to get into calling all these people's names out. I'm kind of lazy about all this research stuff, because you can go and dig up dirt on all these people. They just raided Benny Hinn's house, the FBI. Then he got a nephew out here talking about what a charlatan he is. So all of them, you can dig up stuff on all of them. I mean, basically, ministry, it shouldn't be about money. Money. If you get collecting money, you should be collecting money to build senior housing, or collecting money to feed the homeless. You should be, all these churches, they should be running drug programs. Stop bitching about the drug, people being on drugs. Run the programs. Use the money. Let me see what you're doing with the money. People say you're giving the money to God. Oh, you got to give the money. How do you give money to God? What do God need your money for? You ain't giving money to nobody but yourself and building these empires. And why you build an empire? Because people will come and give more money. That's it. That's the game. So I don't totally blame the people. I think they may go in there with the best of intentions. But when you start making some money, somebody start giving you a bag of money, got $1 million in it, it's not going to solve your problems. It's just going to want you to make another million. And then another million, another million. It shouldn't be about money. Ministry should not be about money. That's my message for today. I went on too long. All right. Hope I ain't offended people too bad, but I'm just telling how I see it.